Hello, I'm Dr. Terry Hagan. We're going to talk about using technology to stay organized. But for you young people, this might not sound the way you expect because what I'm not going to do is to outline new apps and the like that you can use to stay organized. I think you're probably much more proficient at that than I would be. Um, when you have ADHD, uh, organizing is a weakness, or at least it starts out that way. But I encourage people, because those of us with ADHD are creative, to create beautiful organization in your life. And that can easily be done with technology, as you know. I use Google Docs just to kind of cut to the chase. I used to use Microsoft Word. I don't have any real preference between the two, and I'm not advertising one over the other. And I'm sure there are other software programs out there. But if you would just indulge me as I kind of talk about something that uh, is age related. Um, I learned to type when I was in high school, and uh, I learned to type on a manual typewriter. And for those of you young people, a manual typewriter is one in which you had to push the keys down. So then when I went to college, I had an electric typewriter. Well, there it was a lot easier to move around, even though the movement was still up and down. But I got to the point where I could just kind of move right along with what I wanted to write, and that was really cool to me. The problem with typing was always that if you made a mistake, you had to stop, you had to go back, you had to erase the mistake. Sometimes it erased well, and sometimes it didn't, and you needed to use what was called whiteout, which was just a kind of a white paint that you put over your mistake, and then you go back and you put the correct letter in, and go on. Notice how time consuming that was. Again, showing my age. Well, as I recall, sometime in the early 90s, these typewriters came out that were essentially computers, and they had word processing. And with the word processing, just made it all so much easier. And now, as you know, here we are another 30 years down the road, and that kind of software, word processing, all that has evolved to a level that, frankly, is rather delightful to me. So when I say I use Google Docs and Microsoft Word, what I love about it is that you can type, and then you've got spell correction, and then you can easily just backspace and erase, and things are so much easier. Um, and what I like about those technologies is the outlining that is almost automatic. And so we learn how to outline in school, um, but I find it a very, very useful tool. So I have Google Docs. I have hundreds by now, which by itself would tell you that I forget that I have some of them, which represents a degree of disorganization. But I have I set up a new document then for each thing that I want to organize, whether it's a to-do list, or it's a project, or maybe it's a document that I share with my office manager, so that we sit down and we look at that, and we have kind of an ongoing list of the 5 different projects that we're working on. All that we do that with our laptops, again, looking at those documents. Again, for those of you who are young, this is probably painfully obvious, but to those who are older, 40s, 50s, still struggling with, or maybe you have a new diagnosis of ADHD, and you're struggling to get organized in your life. Well, what I'm talking about is great stuff. I would really encourage you then to use the technology that in order to organize, and there's so many different ways to go about it that it would be overwhelming and beyond the scope of this video to start to list anything specific, and that's how it might be disappointing to some of you. But I would give you one rule, and that is when it comes to organizing, you want to keep it simple. You really don't want to go looking for somebody else's way of organizing. Back in my day, 40 years ago maybe, day timers came out. Well, the day timers were these little spiral booklets that had calendars and dates in them, and versions of that, of course, are all over the place now, and a lot of people use those. A lot, even young people use those as a way of listing what they're doing for the month, listing what they're doing for the week, keeping track of the day. It's a real handy thing to carry around with you. And you can do all that on your cell phone. And that's a beautiful thing also. The key to organizing, whatever technology you're using, is to have fun with it. You want to see that maybe you're not as good, you're not as organized as other people might be, but you can again use things like what we're talking about, specifically technology, to become beautifully organized. Now, so the point of emphasis there, though, is you don't want to overthink it. Uh, think instead that organization starts with pencil and paper. And while that might sound a bit boring, that is the starting point. And yet, there are apps now that allow you literally to write on the computer. It sounds so obvious to say it, but that can be the version of paper, and then you've got it with you wherever you go, including your cell phone. The convenience of having your organization with you wherever you go is what technology provides. And so the main suggestion is, when it comes to using technology to stay organized, go looking for things that might make your job easier, but keep in mind that you can get lost in the weeds there, or overwhelmed, or maybe you're overthinking it. You want to start simple, and you want to start with pencil and paper. I know I'm repeating myself, but the point I'm making is you have to create the organization that works for you. And what you may find is that if you're using other people's apps and journals and the like in order, well, you might learn something there. They might be a way of moving the needle or going to the next highest level of your organization. But the key here is to realize you're the captain of your ship. You're the one who needs to organize your life, and you already know how. And so you want to do it, and as opposed to struggling to figure out what system you're going to use. So have confidence. If you have ADHD, you are more creative than the average person. Whatever you do, you can make your organization beautiful and therefore pleasing to you, fun to create. I'm thinking about a simple calendar that you hang on the wall that one guy will put stickers on it, one lady will come along and draw flowers on it. Make your organization beautiful, and have fun with it. That's the bottom line. Have fun with it. Use technology. It makes things easier, but be creative and have fun with it.